I think it's really about finding the right balance between applying all the new technology toys and keeping your eye on the ball as far as profitability of the operation. Whether you're a farmer or a retailer, you've got to meet those triple bottom lines of economic stability, environmental responsibility, and socioeconomic concerns in order to stay profitable.
Hello, I'm Kate Galloway, Director of Brand and Marketing Communications for EverAg. Welcome to Ag Smarter Sessions, where we sit down with thought leaders, forward movers, and problem solvers to explore real-world challenges, intelligent solutions, and what's next for the future of food and agriculture. Today, we're joined by Daren Coppock, President and CEO of Agriculture Retailers Association, otherwise known as ARA, where he's led the organization since 2009 in advancing advocacy, education, and leadership within the ag retail industry. Before taking the helm at ARA, Darren served as CEO of the National Association of Wheat Growers and held key leadership roles with the Oregon Wheat Growers League and the Oregon Grains Commission. A proud Oregon State University graduate and distinguished alumnus, Darren has dedicated his career to strengthening American agriculture and empowering its leaders. His lifelong commitment to service and leadership continues to shape the future of the agriculture community. Darren, so happy you're here today. Thank you for joining us.
Kate, thanks for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, let's get started. We're going to start a little broad. Share with us how the ARA defines its mission today and what the core pillars of value are that you provide your members and retailers. And has that evolved over the recent years?
Slightly, but not much. So our mission in life is to educate, advocate, provide services, and inform for the members, for public. A lot of those things involve advocacy, which is our primary mission here in Washington, is to represent ag retailers in front of legislators and regulatory agencies so that they can run their business and not have to worry about what's going on in DC. The one aspect of our mission that adjusted slightly the last time we did a strategic planning session was, before we talked about this is what we do. We talked about the importance of freedom to operate for our members. But what we added this last time was the reason why we do it all, and that is to provide safe and abundant food for everyone. It's kind of an obvious thing, but we hadn't ever explicitly stated it in the mission statement before. So starting in the last one we did in 2022, that statement got added.
There's so many associations and service providers in agriculture. So what is the unique or differentiating offerings that ARI brings to its members, especially for some of those like smaller and mid-sized retailers?
We collaborate with a lot of the other organizations that are here in town. In fact, we're co-located with two of them, Fertilizer Institute and Crop Life America, because we have a lot of joint members and we have a lot of common issues. But the thing that differentiates ARA is that we operate at the retail level. So anything that's going to make a dollars and cents impact to a local outlet for a retailer, that's where we are. That's our sweet spot. And in fact, we had some town hall meetings with members just last week, asking them things about what we do well, what we can do better, the typical kinds of strategic planning questions you might ask. And several of them commented that, we're members of some of these other groups, but none of them represent the entire scope of our business like ARA does. Everything from the back office to the applicator to the storage tank to the procurement and labor and trade and the whole bit. So ARA is really where all of those issues come together, and that's our focus.
So you talked about, being in Washington, and you are such a strong voice for ag retail. What are the key policy or regulatory issues that you're most focused on right now, and how do those impact the members on the ground?
One of the issues that our members shared with us last week is top of mind for them is farm gate economics. And anytime the farmers are struggling, which they are in basically every sector with a possible exception of beef right now, anytime that happens, the retailer is the first one to feel the impact because the growers got to cut back expenses, and they're going to say, well, I'm not going to put on this nutrient this year, or I'm not going to do whatever. Which causes then retailers to have to batten down the hatches a bit themselves. So we as an industry really need to find a way to get farm gate economics back on track for the benefit of the whole chain. There are some things we're chasing around here in Washington on a policy front. Our members are severely impacted by the tariff situation that's going on right now. Frequently, they'll say, as long as I know what the rules are, yeah, it's a 10% or it's a 15%. As long as I know what they are, that they apply to everybody and they're predictable, I can count on them being in place for a period of time. I can deal with those things. It's the volatility and the fact that maybe I make a transaction today based on what I know today, and then tomorrow the rules are different. I can't plan. I can't execute my business in an environment like that. So we're impacted on the input side as people try to bring in products, ingredients for chemicals or fertilizer products or whatever they need from overseas. And we're truly in a global supply chain for all of those things. But we're also impacted on the other side. And that is when the grower customers that our members are serving can't export their products into world markets because of retaliations against those tariffs we have in place. It makes the situation pretty tough.
Like you guys are doing a lot to help, streamline those issues and get them back on track to what they want to do, which is, sell. So,
Right.
some of the things that they're probably a little different than maybe a few decades ago, obviously, is, selling things like more precision ag, things that are involved with AI, artificial intelligence, and trying to sell those things at the farm level operations. What about on the retail side? Are they having a hard time selling those products, or are growers and producers starting to see the advantages?
So I think a lot of people are experimenting with what they can do with it. Uh, what playing games with Chat GPT to see what goofy questions you can ask and what answers you get that are fun. But there are some applications that people are experimenting with in the countryside. Probably one of the biggest success stories I've heard is one of our retail members who also has a trucking business started using artificial intelligence to dispatch their trucking fleet and had incredible results compared on what they had been before. So they're converted as far as using it for that purpose. Uh, Other things people are trying to do is find ways to automate processes, whether that's through robotics or something else, because the supply of labor, especially in some of these small rural communities, isn't abundant. It's hard to find people that you need that are qualified to run the business or run the applicator or whatever you need. And so to the extent that they can automate some of those processes and really put the people only where they need them, those are going to help. One of the big areas that we've been talking about recently is biologicals. Uh, that's a huge interest area for retailers and growers. But for a retailer to go out there and make a recommendation, they need to know the product works.
What other kind of evolutions or changes do you see happening in ag retail in the future? Let's say like 5 or 10 years down the road. Anything that you're sort of keeping your eye on?
If anything, it's going to be just accelerations of the trends we're seeing today, whether it's toward automation and fewer people in the operation, more biological products, more creative seed treatments, different practices, technologies on sprayers that turn on, turn off, like Case and John Deere both have now. So we're trying to help them as best they can. But I think from a retailer's point of view is just staying on top of a rapidly changing technology.
And do you think that some of those changes might require perhaps a different business model or expansion of their business model? Is there anything in that realm that you see changing?
There may be some expansions to it. I think the biggest adjustment in the business model we've seen is that for years and years, we threw in advice and recommendations along with the product purchase. So if you come to me and say, I've got nut sedge or I've got cheatgrass or whatever, I need a recommendation for to fix it, then the agronomist at the retail location would provide that suggestion, and then they would sell them the appropriate product to go take care of the problem. Now we're seeing business models that need to unbundle those services and have them priced separately, because it may be that somebody comes in and just wants to ask a question, but ends up buying their product somewhere else. The retailer can't stay in business providing free advice and no sales. So that's, in my mind, that's been the biggest business model change that we've seen.
What does ag smarter mean to you?
So I think it's really about finding the right balance between applying all the new technology toys and keeping your eye on the ball as far as profitability of the operation. Whether you're a farmer or a retailer, you've got to meet those triple bottom lines of economic stability, environmental responsibility, and socioeconomic concerns in order to stay profitable. If I go out there and buy all the latest toys for technology, but don't pay attention to my profitability, I'm not going to be around for the long term. And so you strategically deploy the capital to get the technology you need, make decisions based on data rather than your gut instinct. To me, those kinds of things are what Ag Smarter is all about.